Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. This episode is brought to you by Loon JP, one of our newest Patreon patrons. It could also be Lune, so please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Today, I am joined by Sergio, and we're going to talk about all the new features from Animal Crossing New Horizons. So to begin, hello Sergio, how you doing?
Hello, Chewy. I am still in disbelief. I cannot believe that we finally have a new title in a new game on the way. And we've seen it, and it looks amazing. And now we have a date.
I know. I'm just like, I feel the same. I'm just so excited about this game. I can't believe that it's actually happening, you know?
It was real. It was real.
Yeah, the whole time. We were all very worried, of course, if they were going to show it or not, but they did. And now I've watched literally the trailer and the treehouse every single day this week.
Oh, man.
I can't stop. I can't stop watching it. I'm amazed by the game. I'm ready to play it, but I get they're not ready for me to play it yet. Real quickly, I had to ask you, did you visit Splatoon 2 this past weekend?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because it is a Splatfest. What team are you? Are you unicorns or narwhals?
I chose unicorn.
I chose narwhals, and it's mostly, I went with the animal that I feel like they should add to New Leaf.
Oh, okay.
Or not New Leaf, New Horizons. So
Right.
I'm like, we already have a unicorn. We could use more unicorns, but I want a narwhal. It sounds really great. So I guess before we get going into our main topic, we do have something that we wanted to announce prior to that, and that is the winners of our naming contest. So up until this point, we've been working on, well, I guess people were able to enter some guesses for what they think this new Animal Crossing game was going to be called. And I can't tell you how many false alarms that we've done for this whole thing. Pretty much when E3 started rolling around in 2018, so now over a year ago, we'd be like, all right, everybody, last chance to enter your guesses for this contest and see if you win, you know? But unfortunately, not a single time did the contest end until just recently, you know? So I guess we're saying winners because a little bit ago we announced what would happen if Sergio or I were to get the name correct. And funny enough, Sergio, you nailed it. You guessed exactly. New Horizons. I didn't put this in here, but how did you come up with this name?
Honestly, I was trying to remember how. The only thing I know for sure is that most of my guesses were 2 words, because I think they kind of like to stick with that, and I think it works really well for Animal Crossing. So 2-word subtitles, and I guess it just came to me.
Yeah, that's true. You know, it would be pretty tricky if they one day changed that. And they technically have with the spin-offs. For example, we do have Happy Home Designer, but it's one game that stands out. And it's not really a mainline game, so I think the 2-word guesses were spot on.
Yes.
So, just so everybody knows, the special thing that would happen if either Sergio or I would guess the right answer was that we would pick 3 winners. So Sergio has picked 2. I have picked 1 because I didn't get it right. And I mean, I didn't even have to pick one. Sergio, you were kind enough to give me a pick in this situation, you know? So I'm grateful for that because I did really enjoy a lot of the names going through this list and everything.
Yes.
So you kind of led this and picked, the way you picked was you removed everybody's names from a spreadsheet and just to keep that bias away, you know, because there's obviously a lot of people on the spreadsheet who we talk to and know, and we didn't want that to influence us at all. Right. So when we picked, we didn't look at any names of the people who posted their answers. Instead, we simply looked at their answers. The other thing there was somebody else on the spreadsheet who had the New Horizons guess. It was always highlighted on the spreadsheet. I forget who had it, but I highlighted it, and I tried contacting people as much as possible, let them know that they have a duplicate. And so all the duplicates were disqualified,
Right.
essentially.
Mhm.
So we disqualified some of those answers. So there was somebody who did get it right, but unfortunately their answer was disqualified. And I will say there was somebody else who had New Horizon, which I kept because it is different from New Horizons. So
Yes, yes,
I
agreed.
differentiated the singular versus the plural. So unfortunately for them, it was the plural. So Sergio, you won in the end. You're the winner. So yeah, I guess I'll go through my process first since I only picked one, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And so Sergio and I, we both came up with unique processes toward picking ours. And me, personally, I went with the answer that I felt best predicted the theme for this new game. So because I think part of guessing the name is also going in and kind of figuring out what the idea could be behind
Yes.
the game.
Hmm.
So for me, I felt like the guess needed to kind of represent what the game was. And so I came down, well, at first I went through them and I had about 25 guesses that I thought were good, that I felt really nailed down that theme that New Horizons is going with, you know?
Yes. Hmm.
So, in the end, I could only pick one. So I cut that down to three, and then I ordered them from first to third, just in case Sergio had one of my guesses, but he didn't.
All
so,
right.
so my winning pick for this contest was Animal Crossing Starting Fresh. And this answer was from Mowl or Mole. It's M0UL. So, in case you're listening, we're going to contact you, see if you want a digital copy, physical copy, where you even live if you want a physical copy. So, we're going to get all your details. But with this answer, Starting Fresh, I just felt like this title's capturing the goal for the team this time around, Like, you're
Yes.
on a brand new island with two other villagers who are also going to this island for the first time. Like, it's not pre-existing. It's not like you're moving into a town that was already there. Like, it's just a fresh start. And so that's what I liked about this one. And so yeah, the island, it's completely deserted. It's up to you to build it up, and there's also that constant ocean breeze blowing through the air, giving you that fresh feeling.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So yeah, I just felt like Starting Fresh, it not only captures that island theme to me, but it also captures this really new type of game play that we're gonna get for Animal Crossing. Um,
Nice. Hmm.
yeah, so that is the winner once again. Animal Crossing Starting Fresh from Mowl or Mole, however you pronounce it. So, yeah, that's my pick. That's one of our three winners. And Sergio, I'm excited to hear about yours.
Nice. So, yeah, like you said, I took a different approach. And the way I went about it is I was just looking at the names and whatever sounded like a really cool feature to be adding to Animal Crossing, or something that sounded like it's something that I wanted in the game, like the main gimmick if they were adding it to the series. So basically, these two picks that I chose, they could work in the future for some unique approaches to the series. So the first one that I chose is Animal Crossing Welcome Home, and that was submitted by Jesslyn. Jesslyn, if you're listening, thank you. You are a winner. We will also contact you to get the details of how you won the game. So, yes, Animal Crossing Welcome Home. And the reason I picked this one is because I like the Welcome Home approach. And I feel like if Nintendo made an Animal Crossing game with this subtitle, they would really make it like your home away from home. I feel like they would add a lot of customization options. It would really be centered about you living there the way you want, in full freedom, in the full extent of having another home, basically.
Yeah, I really like that. This was probably one of the 25 that I had in my list.
Ooh.
Funny enough, because I do feel like, and I talked to my friend about this because, I've been into that coming home title for a long time.
Yes,
Um,
that's right.
and my friend Edwin actually came up with that title. And I told him, Edwin, I'm sorry, but I'm not picking yours. And it's not because it's yours. It's mostly because I feel like it doesn't exactly get that message across that you're going somewhere new,
Yes. No, right.
somewhere brand new. Because this one seems like more, it's like you're returning to the place that you
Yes.
left a while ago. So coming home just it didn't feel like the answer to me anymore. But welcome home, that gives a very different vibe, that gives very
Yes.
much like, hey, welcome to your new home. Like, and that's something people can say. And it'll totally capture that idea that you're just this is your new home. Welcome, you know?
Yes.
Um, but I will say this one, for me, I didn't add it, and I kind of avoided words that have already been used, essentially, because I'm actually
Oh.
surprised that the title was New Horizons, just because we already got New Leaf, like new was already in it. So
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, so I went away from words that were already there. So we had like Welcome Amiibo, for example, and then we also had Happy Home Designer. And so that's another reason I didn't pick Coming
Oh.
Home, because I felt like home was already used.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, but
Nice.
I love this answer though.
In my second choice, in the last of our three winners for this contest, is Animal Crossing Growing Up. And this was submitted by Emily. Emily with one Y and one cookie, and that's it. So the reason I picked Growing Up is because, again, I see this as a possible feature that they could add in a future Animal Crossing game. What I'm thinking is you're gonna start the game and you pick your age, and then actually as time goes by in real life, you actually do grow up in the game. You grow up older. You get older, as do the villagers in town. I feel like that would be a nice approach as like the main quote unquote gimmick to a new game in the series in the future.
That would be pretty interesting, because that's like, I feel like this is something you run into every single life sim that exists, where Stardew Valley, I can start a family, have some kids, and they grow up for a little while, but after a bit, they just stay a kid forever.
Yes.
And so, yeah, this is just a concept that's never existed, but also, I say makes more sense in Animal Crossing than other games, just because it does move in real time, and
Right.
it'd be interesting to see a game that captures kind of like how your characters develop over time, how you develop, and how those relationships that you have with them all change as you get older,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. This one would be very interesting to time traveling.
Yeah. Yeah,
Imagine.
that would be very strange. Especially like going backwards, and cuz we know like you can travel backwards, but the things you did in the future date are still remembered when you go back.
Oh.
So it's a weird kind of time loop. It's
Right.
it's not like everything you did in the future disappears. It's like you go back and you're still adding on to some memories that exist.
Oh
So,
man, this sounds complicated but fun.
yeah, too much too complicated. Back in the Splatfest, that was time travel versus teleporting. I picked teleporting because I was like, no, time travel is too complicated.
Yes.
I'm gonna get something wrong, something will mess up. Teleporting, now that it's a nifty skill. I
Yes.
don't have to commute for an hour to work. So yeah, I just thought it's too complicated.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I really like the answers that we chose as our winners. I think we're gonna have to do another giveaway, maybe maybe one more.
Yeah.
And I think the next one, we were kind of talking about it on the Discord a little bit. I don't know if you were around, Sergio, when it came up. I know Drama was kind of helping with the idea, and I think she came up
Oh.
with a good one. So what I'm thinking, I'll include the people who were in that chat at that point. What we're thinking is doing a guess the day of the Animal Crossing
Oh.
Direct.
Yes.
We'll even have, you can guess no Animal Crossing Direct, but I'm sure none of us want that to be the case. This one, the difficulty I was having with this one is with a naming contest, it's pretty infinite. You know, like you can do a bunch of unique names, but with this, there are really only 278 options for what date it could be, you know,
Right.
the direct. So what we're going to do is we're going to probably allow maybe up to 10 people to pick a date, a certain date. And then from there, and I guess this might have to increase depending on how much this place grows and everything. But for now, I'm throwing an example. So 10 people can pick a date. And so whoever, say the date is August 4th, they have an Animal Crossing Direct. Might be a little early, but let's just say that happens. And 10 people picked that August 4th date. From there, we'll do a random number generator to pick who wins a copy. So,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, we're going to make it easy like that. So there's some sense of like skill, like getting close to the date or even getting the date. But then from there, there's also the sense of chance, you know, because everybody
Right.
knows a good Mario Party needs a good balance of skill and chance.
Right.
Yep.
You could have them guess the time too if you wanted to. No, but that could get really.
Yeah, I'm already fearing what that would mean for the spreadsheet.
Right.
Yeah. So it might actually work. So that might actually work because we could do across is days and then the columns are times of day.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Now I'm interested. Now I'm interested. Only
Nice.
one can win, or
Right.
none if that's the case.
Oh.
All right. So we've talked a lot about this. We should move into Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yes.
This is a big new game coming to the Nintendo Switch. In case you haven't heard about it, you play as a human character in an animal town. In this case, it's an animal island, and you move into this island with two other islanders, I guess you can call them, and essentially you live your life. So that's what the game's about.
Yeah.
So what we're wanting to do with this is we want to focus on the major new concepts and some other littler concepts, smaller concepts, I should say. But the first part, we're just going to focus on the new things for this. So let's go ahead and start, Sergio. So the first thing I had listed here was the HD visuals and effects. We've got a new, cleaner, brighter look for the game. We've got some better lighting and shadows. And now, the most important part, of course, wind is affecting our world. So
Yes.
what do you think? How are you feeling about the look? How are you feeling about the new feel of this game?
I like it a lot. I feel like the textures could be a little more enhanced. I think that's my only complaint, however. Everything else is looking really nice. I'm partial to the shadows, the way the shadows are and the way they change through as time goes by and as the sun moves. Oh man, it's looking really good. The wind too, the wind affecting the trees, even the characters' hair, their dresses, their clothing. It's looking really detailed, really nice.
Yes, I remember the pre-3 episode where I was just talking about like how nice it'll be to play on a cool autumn day. The leaves have fallen, you're running around your place and you run maybe past a little pile of leaves and they start floating along with you, you know? And And this is giving me that feel with the nice light breeze passing by and you just being able to see the trees move, see all the clothing move. It's great. I love it. It's just,
Yeah.
it's how I wanted, I guess, this world to improve and just feel more alive than it ever has. Because we've talked about the little things in Animal Crossing before, just the little things that we appreciate from the game, and this is hitting that nail on the head. Like, it's exactly what we love about Animal Crossing, you know?
Yes, and it's not to the level of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and it was nice to want that, of course, but I don't think a lot of us really expected that. But it's definitely not far, and it's definitely an improvement over New Leaf into coming to a console and a nice console that you can take with you wherever. But it's looking really nice, and it's matching the whatever they're adding to the game. It's going to be a very new experience, so it's going to look very new as well.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, the Mario Kart thing is, like, it goes away from the grid that we've always had at Animal Crossing. Like, Animal Crossing has always worked on a grid system, and so getting away from that, I feel is going to be hard. Like, I think going away from the grid is going to be, I don't know, a pretty long wait for us to get that game, you know? So, because it's just, it's easy to pick up an item and place it. Like, there's not really, there's a kind of a rotation feature, but everything rotates just grid based, like it's a square
Yes.
movement, you know?
Yes.
But I think maybe one day we could get to that point where you can place something diagonally. And but that's going to be a whole nother thing to program, I think, you know?
Right.
So Mario Kart gives us more of those, like, you know, obviously there's turns, like 3-dimensional turns that can go in any amount of degrees. So I think it's going to be a while before we see that Animal Crossing. Because then you have to, I don't know, just between placing items and being able to rotate them and face any direction, like minuscule changes to direction, on top of, like, the camera that's gonna have to be able to, I imagine the camera would have to move in much more intricate ways to really capture your setting, you know? So, yeah, that seems hard to do. But I don't know, thus far it's already looking like a great upgrade. Like, the shadows, my friend was laughing because when we were doing, like, all our streaming over Tuesday, I went back and I was watching the trailer, and then all of a sudden I just stopped and I was like, look at these butterfly shadows. The butterflies have shadows.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. It's great to see the world grow like that.
Yes, and everything is more alive and more connected, and you just feel like you're there even more than before. So that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. So go ahead and introduce us to this next one, Sergio.
So the next big change, and it's one of the first that we hear about when they introduce the concept of New Horizons. We are arriving to a deserted island. So we're moving in on our own, almost on our own. We're moving in with 2 other villagers, but everyone, us and those 2 villagers, everyone is starting from scratch and building everything from the start. We have nothing. Apparently, we don't even have the tent as soon as we arrive. We kind of have to get that on our own. So, yeah, that's awesome. And the fact that the villagers, too, they start the same way and they start owing Tom Nook just like we do. That's pretty cool, and of course that's brand new. It was always interesting that you arrive to a village or a town and you see there's 6 or so animals there with their houses, and you're arriving on your tent and you're like, oh man, I'm I'm lagging for sure. But now everyone is on the same field.
Yeah, and this is, what did I tell you I wanted in this game? More debt. I wanted to owe everything, all the money in the world that I could possibly earn. I wanted to lose it all to my debt. And I feel like we're getting this. Like, we're going to this brand new island with literally nothing there. And you're not the only one in debt anymore. The villagers
Yes.
are also in debt. They haven't lived there for who knows how long before you did. And, have already paid off their house and everything. No, they have to work for it too. And it's so cool. It makes me wonder, kind of, because the job system that people bring up with the game, like having a job kind of thing. I'm like,
Mhm.
well, I just want to know that my villagers can also get a job and then pay to
Oh,
expand their place.
yes.
Because it seems like they're going to start in a little tent like you, and there's no way that's how they're going to live their whole life. They are for sure going to upgrade and get their own home. So
Right.
yeah, I am so excited about this, just starting from scratch. I remember mentioning it, and I know a lot of people were like, oh, but a lot of the charm really comes from moving into a place that already exists. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's really charming, but like we have 4 games that already do that.
Ah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so like if you do want to move into a place that already exists, like it's something we can already do. But I'm really glad that we have something that is a brand new concept, which is, just you're building from scratch essentially. That's what they're going for with this one. And I think at the end of the treehouse, Ayakyo Goku makes a comment that she's really hoping that we play this game for a very long time. And
Yes.
that is what I wanted to hear. Because we talked about this too. Like, I've been worried about only playing for like 2 years and then feeling like I've gotten most of it, most of what I
Mhm.
wanted out of the game. Um, and with us possibly waiting, who knows, maybe 8 years for the next game once this one is out, like we need something that is going to last us a while. And I feel like this is coming at a good time. Being on the Switch, it's going to be like in HD Animal Crossing. Because I think the hardest part for the wait for this game has been literally that Nintendo has put out an HD console in this time. Like they put out the Wii U and everybody was like, of course you need to see Animal Crossing in HD. That's the game to see updated. So now we're finally getting that. And I think this timeline is going to be a lot better for us, where we're going to get New Horizons. We're going to enjoy it a lot. It sounds like they're going to give us so much to do between now and when the next game comes out. And then I expect us to be more open to the spin-off titles that we get. I want them to revisit Amiibo Festival. Maybe not the name Amiibo Festival, but I want to see a party game that is actually like Animal Crossing and fun, because I think there's potential
Yes.
to pull that off. I want to see a Happy Home Designer too. I want to see just what else they can do with this. But I think as long as we have New Horizons now, we're going to we're going to be more open to that stuff.
Oh yes, yes, for sure. Hmm.
So anyways, that's my long rant, but I am ready to move into a complete dump and just watch myself like turn that around in a year, 2 years. I want to play this for 5
Oh
years and see like this is where I started and now this is where I am. And I'm so jealous that
yes.
I now want to record all of my gameplay, but I know I'm gonna want to play during lunch and stuff. So I'm I think it's cool that you're gonna record all of your gameplay.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, that's what I have to say about the deserted island. So how are you feeling about that? Are you excited about moving into just like a brand new place?
Yeah, for sure. It sounds really exciting, and like you said, the biggest highlight of that is that we're gonna be playing this game for a long time. It should be at least half the amount of time that we're gonna have to wait for the next game. Hopefully it's at least 3 years. New Leaf was sort of like 3 or 4 years for this new one. For sure, that would be nice, and I think it's doable, especially the way we're approaching it. We're starting from scratch, and there's so many ways that everything could go from there. Maybe when we talk to those two villagers that are moving in with us, we can kind of guide them if we want them to stay on a tent, if we want them to expand that and actually get a house. Maybe I just wonder if our actions or our interactions with those villagers are gonna dictate their approach to paying back Tom Nook.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we see a lot of good growth over the I guess over the time frame of this game. What's the word I'm looking for? Over the course of time. I want to see
Yes.
a lot of growth, you know?
Yes.
Especially with the villagers. Like, I feel bad for them whenever in the older games I'd start buying their stuff whenever they'd invite me over, and then all of a sudden their place is empty. And no, and
Yeah.
we've already seen characters walk around with crafting tools, you know, like they pick up branches too. They can make their own crafting recipes. In fact, like we're going to be able to get crafting recipes from them. But that's our
Right.
next thing that we're going to talk about. Regardless, though, I really like to see that they're going to have an opportunity to, sure, maybe they sell you something, but they can just make another one and then their house doesn't stay empty all the time. Um,
And it might not stay the normal size. Imagine if they get like a 2 or 3 story home before you.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like I want to see them get like more bedrooms and do more decorating things and maybe they even learn more crafting recipes as they progress in the game as well. So,
Oh
like there
yes.
let's get into crafting because I'm going to be talking about this for a while. So, the next big new thing in this Animal Crossing game is of course crafting, and this one, almost more than any other comment, this is a very
Yes.
common comment that was left on all of the videos where people just didn't want crafting. They felt like it wasn't Animal Crossing, and you know, to some extent they had an opportunity to try it out. Like Pocket Camp is all about crafting, and so now like they've tried out the crafting thing and we're like, oh no, it's not really for me. I really prefer going to the shops and buying things, you know? um
Mhm.
I want to remind everybody, like, I think we're still going to be able to buy things, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later too. Just because I feel like there's going to be some upgrades to things. It might fit into this crafting category, but
Mhm.
regardless, let's talk about this real quick. You can craft tools, furniture, different items. You collect resources, of course, for your crafting recipes so you can make everything. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, you can learn crafting recipes from other villagers. So, Sergio, tell me how you're feeling about this whole crafting mechanic.
Honestly, I never really considered it. I if anything, I consider something like Harvest Moon with farming in maybe cooking, but never really having to craft even your most basic tools. And I do see the concern. I see, you know, how people, this is very different to Animal Crossing, and it's gonna really affect the way you start the game specifically. So I can see the concern and why some people might not be too into it, but at the same time, I can see the replay value that this is gonna add to a game that already had a lot of it. So
Mm-hmm.
this is amazing. I was not expecting it, and I already love it. I already want to be crafting everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I listed this as something I wanted from Pocket Camp in my 5 features video. I talked about this in my Friday video from this past week,
Mhm.
and I love it. I love this idea of crafting things because I feel like we're gonna be able to do some really fresh things, not only with crafting, but I'm sure we're gonna just get more options for how we design all of the furniture that we make. And that might be a later in the game thing when we unlock Reese and Cyrus, for example,
Mhm.
because they've always been that like refurbishing kind of mechanic, which allows you to customize stuff. But I don't know. Overall, I feel like this gives us a more active gameplay loop where the past games have been shopping, essentially. Like you wake up every day, you go to the stores, and then you buy whatever you want that's there. Um,
Yes.
so the goal has always been collect bells. And how do you do that? You catch the rarest fish, you catch the rarest bugs, and everything else that you've caught, you donate and then don't really bother with from there,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of things kind of had an end of life with the game. So if you're far enough in New Leaf and you get the island, all you really do is go and farm bugs at the island, and every once in a while a little shark pops up or something, and you catch one of those. But for the most part, you start ignoring everything else that's there that season, you know?
Yes.
And so there's not really much need to collect a lot of things. There's not really much use for a lot of things. But now we have use for everything. Like, there's just so much that we can do. Like, they mentioned in the treehouse that you can get clams and then make fishing bait. Like, that's a
Yes.
whole new use for something that didn't really have a use before after you donated it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. To me, I feel like it's a system that gives back more. Like, because Animal Crossing, the end goal has always been bells. But now we have a
Mm.
lot of things that have value in this world outside of just bells.
Yeah,
Which,
and this really matches with the approach that they're taking about going to a deserted island. When you're there are no shops. So it makes sense to that you're gonna have to craft everything on your own, at least to begin. Eventually you do get shops, and I'm sure eventually, we're gonna get even bigger shops and you're gonna be able to buy things easier instead of having to craft. But you're always gonna have both options, and it just makes sense for you to start having to collect materials and crafting a lot of different things just to get going on this deserted island. It just fits so well.
yeah, no, you're totally right with that. Like, you literally are going to a place where you have to take advantage of the resources that are available. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, no, I love that. But overall, I just feel like it gives you, like, they've already mentioned that you can unlock new crafting materials as you go. And oh, I guess I didn't really make this point earlier, but I did want to say, like, when the shops were depleted of anything that you already bought, like, that was it for the day. Like, you couldn't buy anymore.
Oh,
Um,
yes, yes.
but now it's like, oh, I've bought everything that Timmy and Tommy were selling. Maybe I'll just craft something now that I've got time. So I don't know.
Yes.
I think there's just a lot more opportunity to make more furniture that you want. And I think, judging by, like, us being able to decorate both the interiors and exteriors of our places, like, there are going to be so many new items in this game. Like, we've already seen so many new things. Like, that shot of Fuchsia's home, it's just riddled with stuff that we've never seen before, along
Yes.
with, like, wallpapers and carpets. And imagine getting crafting recipes for wallpapers and carpets that didn't exist before. Like, I think we're going to see a lot of really unique items, especially from the villagers when we start earning their crafting recipes. So I'm so ready to dive into this game.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just think there's so much opportunity for just, like, a unique town, a unique island. I guess I should say. So I'm ready. I'm ready to play this and start crafting everything. I think it's a good fit, really. I think it's a good
Yes.
update to what we've always done. And like I said, I just really appreciate that it gives more value to more of the world of Animal Crossing.
Yes, and we don't know yet if there's gonna be a limit to how many resources we can gather every day. My first guess is that there might not be, or there might be, but it's gonna take a really long time of playtime every day to absolutely deplete everything. And who knows, they might just let you collect however much you want, because you're just gonna want to craft a lot of different items. So hey, if you have the time and you just want to do that, maybe they're gonna let us. And that's just basically always having something to do in a game that kind of already let us do that. That's insane. I love it.
You know, I do have a suspicion that there might be a maximum amount of stuff, but
Mhm.
it really depends on your own place. So why this I have this suspicion is because I noticed during the treehouse, they would really only hit each tree 3 times with
Right.
that flimsy axe. and then it would drop something. And I think I remember, because I'm going through this stuff and trying to capture some things for the analysis video that I'm doing. But I do remember where Nogami hits a tree that Ayakyo had already hit, and nothing happened.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling that you're going to be able to get like 3 pieces of wood from each tree every day. So I don't know. It also gives you like a value for even planting trees and having them in your place. I was always, I love trees. You know this. I want so many trees in my place, but there are so many pictures of like people's New Leaf towns, and they're like covered in flowers and stuff. But I always felt like, where are your trees?
Yes.
Like I want to see some more trees, and that's what your town is missing to me. Because I put too many trees. I'll tell you right now. I probably put way too many trees in my place, but I love it. I love all the trees.
Yes.
So regardless, so I just think like it gives you a reason to have a lot of these things in your town, because like they're resources that you can use essentially, you know? So I don't know. That's overall what I love about it, that I feel like it gives value to a lot of things that have not had that value in the past.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Which we need, because everything is amazing in Animal Crossing, and I just want it to be appreciated, you know? All right. So, yeah. Are you ready to move on into this next one?
Yes, and the next one on the list of big introductions to the game is outdoor decorating. Basically, any item you can place it outside. And Happy Home Designer kind of started with this, but New Horizons is just going all out, basically. All out, literally, because everything can be outside.
Yeah, that's true. I am so happy about this. I felt like I was moving in slow motion watching the Nintendo Treehouse the first time, because I saw them like put down an item, and I was like, but can you drag it when it's already out, or do you have to like pick it up again? And then I saw them drag it, and I was like, oh, good. We can drag our items around. We can place them a little bit more precisely to where we want, you know? So that already made me very happy. But yeah, literally, like we're probably going to be able to place anything that we want outside. I know a lot of people will be probably like me. I imagine I'll be like this, but put more outdoor things that feel like they should be outdoors.
Yes.
Actually outside,
Yes.
and more indoor things actually inside. Because I don't know, it's hard not to do that, you know, kind of bring in a little bit of reality. But every once in a while, there's that item where I'm like, I think this would look great outside.
Yes.
Yeah, so the other thing I noticed, and I have to stress, I am so excited about this. I noticed some bushes very close to a home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping that there's really like way less limits by how things grow. The first thing I'm going to try is planting a tree and seeing how close I can get it to my home.
Nice.
Because I want it to grow right next to my home. I want it to be right on it. So that's going to be one of the first things I do in this game. But already seeing so many of the things we can decorate with, like the fencing that we can make, I'm sure we're going to be able to craft all sorts of fencing.
Yes, and you know what? This basically gives us front yards and backyards, because I'm pretty sure eventually we're gonna unlock bigger items that would be equivalent to the public work projects that we get in New Leaf. Basically, you're just gonna have to craft them a lot, or craft items that you craft those items into the bigger items, if that makes sense. So yeah, eventually we're gonna have our amazing pools in front yard, different items, different fencing too. I also hope the villagers are able to do that, the other animals in town.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're gonna pull in some more ideas from Pocket Camp, even though I know a lot of you are resistant toward things from Pocket Camp showing in the game. We already have crafting, and that's a huge thing. But I will say, like, every villager in Pocket Camp has a special item that you can only craft if you become good friends with them. So I expect some of those things to happen where you eventually get that really special item from the villager to craft. So some of those are like the teacup ride, which is super cool and it's a huge thing. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential to really pull in either the big public works projects from New Leaf or the big amenities. You can build a skate park. That's so cool. I want the half pipe. I want that from Pocket Camp, and I want to be able to put it there and see my villagers hang out on it. Like, I'm sure we're gonna see so much interaction between all of the items and your villagers. So I'm ready. I'm ready for that. And it gives you like more incentive for the outdoor decorating. And I do want to mention again, like you mentioned the front yards and backyards. Like I'm pretty sure like it looks like you can customize these things as exactly how you want them.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you can give people that really great backyard. You can give people that side yard, front yard. It doesn't matter. Any yard is possible now. Especially with the fencing, like I mentioned. So I want that. I want that so bad. I need it. Can we just play this game already?
Yeah, right. We would buy it the way it is, Nintendo.
I know. I would not mind. I will take this unfinished game. Just, send me the updates as they come in. I don't really care. I'll play it as is until it comes out officially. But yeah, I'm so ready. I saw the tweet that somebody put out of like, can I just like fast forward my Switch's clock to March 20th and the game will be out, or does that not work? And it should. All right, so we've got a couple smaller things to go over, but the next one is that we saw 2 new tools. And so one of them is the pole vault, which got, of course, showcased at one scene in the trailer. And then the other was a trowel type of thing that lets you make paths. And that also got showcased in the game. So we have official items from Nintendo to make paths. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
This is something that people have asked for, Yeah,
and it just looks like it's going to really let you make the paths that you want the way you want. Who knows, we might even eventually be able to craft like specific types of paths that we want, like stone, clay, wood, have them different colors. It's just gonna be so awesome. And then the pole vault, that is so unexpected and unique. I don't know, silly thing for me. It looks a little bit dangerous to the Animal Crossing world, but man, I love it.
Yeah, I think this is interesting too, because I feel like they wanted you to literally start from nothing. And they thought, you can't really go to a deserted island and see a bridge that exists there. Yeah. Like, it's deserted. It doesn't have anything. So they wanted to get kind of enhance that feel, because I imagine bridges are going to be like more of a late game type of thing that we can craft and build and add to our world. But beyond that, like, they didn't want to cut us off from some portions. And that might come from, there are going to be randomly generated maps. Like, everybody's going to have a different map. Like, for now, we saw like the split river thing, but we don't know like what other possibilities there are. And some of them may lock us off from another portion of the map, but for now we'll have the pole vault to get over there,
Yes,
up until we get the things to build a bridge. But this also gives me an idea, because I have a feeling we're not going to be able to get up the cliff anyway very easily at the beginning.
Right.
Because from what we've seen, we haven't really seen a path that goes up a cliff at all. Right. So that might be something that we need to build. And so there might also be an item that lets you climb the cliffs.
Yes.
So who knows? I'm wondering about that, because obviously, like, I want to be able to use my second tier if I'm going to have a 2-tiered town.
Oh, yeah.
But this also makes me wonder if we're going to be able to move our house in the future, because as soon as I have access to the cliff, like, I'm going to want to live up there. So let me go put my house, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, that got me way off topic. The pole vault and the trowel thing, I love that they're going to be paths. This also makes me feel like maybe they're getting rid of animal tracks just because you're going to
Hmm.
be able to make whatever type of path you want. I think you're spot on with saying like maybe you can make a stone path, a wooden path. And so I feel like that takes away the need to do the animal tracks because I think they
Yes.
introduced that with an intention of if you go this route regularly, it's going to make a little path for you and that's going to look
Hmm.
great. But now they're like, oh, people didn't really like that. It didn't really work out the way we wanted it to. Let's just let them make their own paths the way they want them to, you know?
Yes. Yes. Hmm. It's gonna be
So
awesome. And I wonder if they can also add more uses to something like the pole vault. Could we use it to knock down beehives from a little bit of a distance?
I mean, that would be really cool, like seeing an extra use for it.
Yeah.
I'd want to whack things with it for sure. And you know what? Like I say, we may not even need another item to go up the cliffs. Like maybe you just use the pole vault to climb
Yeah.
up. So that could be a thing too, which would be pretty interesting to see. Because it's already pretty interesting to see the villagers go over. And it makes me wonder if your own little neighbors are going to be able to pole vault
Right.
around town. I know as soon as that happens, people are going to record that and post it up
Yes.
on Twitter. There'll just be threads of all the pole vaulting animals. Yeah, so did you have anything else to say about these two new items?
No, I mean they're really cool. Who knows? We might even be getting other new tools. So, oh, there's so much potential for this game already.
Yeah, and none of these were like ones that we even came up with because we've
No,
done
yeah.
a whole discussion on tools before. And so I don't know. I'm excited to see what else they're gonna do with them.
Yes.
And also, I guess we didn't mention this, but there are also like new levels to the tools where we have the flimsy axe, for example, and it's
Hmm.
not strong enough to cut down a tree, but maybe when you get an upgraded axe, you know? So there's just like new upgrades to the tools that give them a different use.
Yes. Hmm.
So finally, the last big thing that was added was, of course, 8 players and couch co-op. So they've really updated the multiplayer in this game. How are you feeling about that?
Oh, I did not expect that, and if I did, it was split screen. And the fact that it's not, it's local, single screen, up to 4 players local, and then 8 players if there's like two switches or if you go online. That is crazy.
Yeah, this is an amazing thing. And it makes me wonder like can I play 2 players here and both of us visit another town, you know?
Hmm.
Um so I really wonder how they're going to mix and
Ooh,
match players for this.
yes.
Because I would really like it if they did it where you can do a local multiplayer and then combine that with the I guess online multiplayer.
Yes, yes. That would be great to go along with the fact that this is a communication game. So, yes, the more open they are about just letting us play the way we want and connect the way we want, that would be great.
Definitely. But yeah, I didn't expect the 8 players either. I was like, that's a lot of players for one town. And then even knowing like 8 of us can move into the town, I think we're gonna need to expand the town if that's the case. Like if I'm gonna make eight
Yes.
characters, plus all the villagers that live there, plus maybe possible shops that open up, I feel like there's got to be island expansions, you know?
Yes.
Because Nook, he's a good businessman. I think if you want to make something happen, he's gonna make it happen, and you know he's gonna want to charge you for it too. So
Oh, yeah.
I think it works. I think it works. All right, so let's quickly, I guess, because we are getting pretty long here. We're almost to an hour. But let's go through some of our other favorite things that we saw. I'll let you go first, Sergio.
Sure. And one thing that stood out to me right away is that the villagers have a lot more variety in terms of their clothing. We saw Fuchsia with a dress, we saw Freya with a long sleeve, and even shirts for the sheep, finally. So they're really embracing the fact that the villagers should dress appropriately for each season, and it's just gonna add so much more customization to their clothing. That's awesome.
I was going to write this one down as well, and then I saw it was your first thing, and it's so important to me that my animals wear their sleeves now, because I get so
Yes.
sad when I'd give them a sweater and they wouldn't wear it as a sweater.
Yeah.
Is it too much to ask to just not turn all of my shirts into tank tops, please?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm stoked about that feature.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess I'll give one. We'll go back and forth with this.
Okay.
Cliffs. um, this is something we saw right at the beginning of the game, right at the beginning of the trailer, I should say.
Yeah.
When the villagers walking up that beach side, like we can see a cliff side right there. And so at first it gave me the vibe that, oh, is this like cutting off the beach again from just like New Leaf, But no, it's not. It's definitely not. It's just like
No.
as you walk northern on the beaches, it just like the town of course rises, and so you start to see cliff sides, and I'm really glad to see the two-tiered towns come back. I have a suspicion that we might even be able to get multiple tiers.
Yes.
So I am all about that for sure.
Yes, for sure. And if you do have to unlock that part of your island just by playing, by crafting different items, that makes it so awesome, and it just adds even more value to what we were saying. We want to be playing this game for a long time, so who knows, we might have to make an effort to get to all the parts of our island.
Yeah, definitely. And cliffs are just fun. So I'm into it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So another really cool feature that it was sort of expected based on the newer games in the series, but it's definitely nice to have confirmation of. You're gonna be able to customize your character basically from the beginning and in any way you want. Basically, all the facial features and all of the hairstyles are gonna be gender independent. You can look and have the hair whatever you want, and including skin tones, and you're gonna be able to change them. Most likely you're gonna change them whenever you want. So finally, you're gonna have the villager you want from the beginning.
I am all about this. I think the part that people were torn with on this was just that it's always very charming to do the intro sequence to Animal Crossing and then figure out what you look like when you're all done talking with the
Yes.
character, because you don't see your player until, of course, you get off of that train, get out of that taxi, get off of the bus. Um, so yeah, I like that we're going to have customization, and I feel like we're going to be able to do some basic things. I think we're going to have a set amount of I guess hair colors, some different hairstyles that we can do. But
Mhm.
if we're going to see Harriet in the future, it's got to be worth seeing Harriet in the future. So I
Yes.
imagine they're going to be like more premium hairstyles that we can only get done at the salon.
Yes.
So that's my guess with this. Like anything that exists as a customization thing early on, it's going to have the opportunity to grow later. And that's just my
Mhm.
suspicion with the game, just by what we've seen so far. So, and I
Yes.
love that. I love that a lot, especially picking our skin tones. Finally, took long enough. We
Yeah.
don't have to tan anymore.
Right.
The next thing I wanted to point out was the new weeds that we're getting, and the fact that they also grow.
Yeah.
I guess I should mention this, like the flowers also grow now for the first time. Actually, that's later on my list, but weeds and flowers grow, and they just look so good. I think a lot of people would always pick their weeds, and I always kept my clovers, because I thought they looked really cute. But
Mhm.
now people are going to seriously consider keeping a lot of their weeds around their town and maybe planting them in some place that's going to be slightly abandoned, or like even during Halloween, it'd be really cool to have like weeds growing all over and hay fields or something. But I don't know. I'm really into the new look for the weeds.
Yes, for sure. They look very nice. They look like we could use them for decoration, definitely to make the place look more natural, more alive in terms of the environment, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, they look great. So one of my concerns when we first saw the game, even after watching the treehouse, and I really should have paid more closer attention to that because after watching it, rewatching it so many times, I can kind of see that this really shouldn't have been a concern. But the size of the island, it kind of scared me a little bit at first. But for sure, it is bigger than your town in New Leaf. It could be fairly bigger too if they have piers eventually, or if the stones on the northern side of the island eventually become the stores, or like mountain sites that you can build amenities or places in. So definitely the island is big. It's not smaller or the same size as New Leaf, and it could even get bigger if they expand it.
Yeah, and that's my suspicion too. Like, I feel like we may be able to expand it later. But I was also concerned about that, but I have a feeling this map is bigger than we think it is because it's
Yes.
hard. It's really hard to determine that just through the footage that we've seen.
Hmm.
So I don't think we're gonna get a real size estimate until the game is in our hands and somebody can go and lay down tiles and see how big the map is.
Yes, and it's for me, and I think for a lot of us, it's easy to sort of dismiss the beach areas because we're used to having them. They're there, but you cannot really put any items there. But now that you can even put your tents on there, so you can leave on the beach if you want, and it's on the three sides of the island. So there's so much beach, and it counts as area, so it's definitely a lot bigger for sure.
Yeah, that's true. And then it's even like we got to take into account like we never got to utilize the beach before outside of like planting palm trees and flowers. Like
Right.
this is going to be the first time that we're going to be able to decorate it, put towels on the beach and maybe umbrellas and just make it look like fun, like a fun day at the
Yes.
beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my next one is half unit item placing. So
Mm.
this is one of the things that I was always really sad that didn't make it through in the Welcome Amiibo update because we obviously got like a lot of happy home designer items, but the most important feature that I wanted was that we could place things more precisely. And so instead of doing moving things a full unit in the game, we can now put them a half unit over and get just a little bit more customization in for our designs. And not only does it exist inside, it also exists outside. So I
Yes.
am so ready for doing that because Happy Home Designer, people make really cool things. And I think a lot of the credit goes to being able to place things more precisely.
Yes, yes, for sure. And you know what? If unless I'm remembering wrong, I don't think on the treehouse or on the direct, we didn't see them rotate any items. So back to your earlier discussion, there might be, angle rotation. That would be really nice. I know it might limit the placement of items. It might consider it like it's a bigger item, just to prevent other items from being right next to a rotated item, but it could be in the game.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that we haven't seen, so it could very well just be that this exists. This is something you can do, and they weren't ready to show us quite yet.
Right.
I'm
But
ready to
yeah,
see it though.
yes, and half unit movements. It was almost a given, and it's very nice to have it confirmed. And like you said, for outdoor item placement too. That is just really cool.
Hmm.
So another thing that I really liked is there's a part in the trailer where we see Olivia, the cat. She's just sitting there looking out the sea, just adoring nature. And I want to do that too. I want to be able to just sit down or lie down pretty much anywhere. We saw a towel item at the beach, right? And we know we can, if you have like a bed item or even like a public work project, you can sort of jump on it to lie down on it. But I want to just sit down or lie down without jumping, like on the beach towel. But I'm almost certain that's gonna be a feature not just for the villagers but also for your main character.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it does open up a lot of the opportunities for how the villagers can interact with everything.
Hmm.
Even like just the normal, regular, everyday world. Them sitting next to a tree, that's cute. It's
Yeah.
so cute. And it just gives you so much more life in your world, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I love that. Here's another little thing. I brought it up a little earlier. Leaves can float in the wind now. If you watch very closely in the autumn scene for the trailer, you can see just some leaves blowing in the wind, some nice little autumn leaves. So it's a small little thing, but it's one of the things I wanted more than
Yes.
anything, surprisingly. But yeah, I think it's adorable. I think it really shows that they've taken into account that the wind is going to exist on an island. You're always going to have some ocean breeze going on, you know? And so seeing the leaves blow and even fall off of trees and blow through the air a little bit, that's awesome.
Yes, yes, for sure. Another thing that stood out to me is in both a positive and a negative way in a bit. It's the visual aspect of the game, the way the graphics are looking. Like I said on our previous episode, I think the development team focused on working on the engine and working on like the crafting and the new features. So I expect the graphics to improve. I know the textures are looking a little bit bland, and it looks nice for sure, but I think it can look a little bit better. But some of the visual details that they are already showing, they look really nice. For example, when it's raining, you can see some of the raindrops sort of causing little ripples on the river, and you can even see like sunshine on the water on the river too. Let's just sparkling and shining. It looks very nice. I think my favorite new visual effect is the shadows of the clouds passing by. It looks so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, those visual effects are really amazing. um there's when you I guess while you know that little portion in the trailer that goes pretty quickly where they're decorating the front of their home,
Yes.
you kind of see a bit of a time lapse thing happen, and it does show like shadows of clouds moving by and the tree shadows changing, and even the light
Yes.
coming from the tent later on. And like you said, you get that visual of the rain dropping in the water. There's so many really nice small things to take from that scene alone, and it goes by so quickly, like you have to slow it down to see it all.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I'm loving those visual effects. Like I mentioned with the tree leaves, like it's just nice to see those small things in this world that really make it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
All right, so my next one is wreaths on doors. So this is something we haven't really been able to decorate our doors since the first game. In Population Growing, you could talk to your gyroid outside of your home, and he would let you, or she, I guess, they would let you essentially just pick a pattern that you wanted on your door, and that's not something that we've ever been able to do really since, you know?
Right. Hmm.
So I love that we're now going to be able to get a wreath and put it on our door. And this does, I feel, confirm that we're going to have wall items once again. We didn't see too much like
Oh yes.
interior decorating, but I'm hoping that we get like ceiling items still, you know? And
Hmm.
rugs and just some of the really cool things that were added from Happy Home Designer. So yeah, wreaths on doors is something that's new, and it's something that's I'm excited to see all the different ones that we'll be able to craft or buy, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. And the last item on my list, we kind of touched on it earlier, but I really like the way the paths system is looking, and also the fencing because it looks very up to you, like very customizable. I think I saw like a three-part fence that sort of goes like in an S shape, so it doesn't have to be like just a square or a rectangle predetermined around the house or the tent. It can be very very customizable, and you can just make whatever you want. And I'm pretty sure there's gonna be different types and colors of fencing and paths. So it's gonna be really, really nice.
Yes, I cannot wait for that. Because I love making paths. I don't know why. I like it. And so being able to like make paths throughout my town and just see where I can take people, that is exciting for me. And like you said earlier, making fences to make yards or using fences to make yards, that is exactly what I want to see from this game.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure just based on what we saw, it would be very nice, and I think it's gonna be possible to have like a fence with bushes on the other side to right next to them. So basically, bushes are not gonna be the fence anymore.
Yes, that would be great. All right, so my last little thing is that we saw. Actually, I have two more. One is that we saw a bunch of new items, new furniture, new wallpaper, new items for the beach, like radios that go outside,
Yes.
and an update to like existing furniture. Because I'm kind of assuming the series that's inside of Fuchsia's house, it looks kind of like the Lovely series because there's like hearts in it and everything, but it seems like a
Right.
nice update to it, which I think that series needed one. I haven't liked that series like ever. It's always felt like kind of tacky. I don't know. I've not been a fan of that one. So I'm excited to see what types of updates we get to these. And I did want to mention like being able to place radios or CD players outside could mean KK Slider music playing outside in your place. So
Yes.
that's a huge deal too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then finally, my last one is, of course, the Nook phone. And there we get a little glimpse of it at the end of the trailer. There's a character who pulls out his phone while he's by the beach, probably taking a picture or something. But there are going to be tons of apps. Like, we only really saw, I think, 5 apps in this video, or in the gameplay footage that we saw so far.
Yes.
And they've already confirmed there are going to be more. So I'm already thinking, what else could there be? I mean, there's got to be an amiibo app for sure. Because they
Oh
can't just
yes.
have 479 amiibo and not use them. Like, we need to be able to use them. And even more than that can be used in the game because you have like all the Zelda ones, the Splatoon ones. So there are a lot of amiibo that work in Animal Crossing. So
Yes.
I don't know. There are going to be lots of apps, and I'm really excited to see what we can do with all of them.
Yes, yes, it's probably gonna be a very nice way to connect with the Nintendo app on our actual real life phones. So I'm actually really looking forward to see how they connect everything.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our Haken's Villager Corner. For those of you who don't know, every week we ask a question to our patrons on Patreon, and they get to answer it, and we share their answers. So this week's question is: now that you've seen New Horizons, are you excited for this game or not? And as I kind of left a note, you can briefly tell us why as well. So we've been getting a lot of these, so I actually picked 7 answers, and I felt like they had a good variety of things to say. So
Mhm.
Sergio, do you want to start?
Yes, our first answer this week is by Will B. And the answer is I am extremely excited, but the release date is a huge bummer. The game looks gorgeous, and all the new additions are amazing. However, I am worried about how the other characters like Isabel and Leaf are going to be incorporated. I also want to see how shops are going to be added, but overall, I'm very hyped.
Yeah, so I picked this one out because I am also wondering that, like, how are shops going to be incorporated? And we kind of touched on this briefly, but I'm really hoping that they end up being like really good updates to what we could already do, you know?
Yes.
So, like
And
Leaf, for example, I want him to introduce um new types of plants that we can grow, you know?
ooh, yeah. And if hopefully not. Hopefully everyone is able to be there at once. All the special characters, but who knows? They might rotate if they don't want to just live permanently on this quote unquote deserted island. Maybe they just come visit every once in a while, or they might rotate every month or something.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be really cool to see that happen. But it also, I don't know, I feel like, what if they rotate enough? And because, for example, in New Leaf, we got, what's her name? Katrina visiting like every week. And then after 20
Yes.
visits, like she'd just live in your town. She'd open up a shop in your
Right.
town. So I don't know. I guess I wonder if they're going to have a more permanent solution for villagers later on.
Right.
Yeah. So Kiwi says, I wasn't at first because I disliked the style of it at first sight, but by now, I've seen the trailer a couple times as well as the gameplay. I'm more excited. Still unsure about the island setting, but from the looks of it, you can upgrade to a village/town over time, so I'm really excited for that. At least this means there will be a lot to do, and I can invest myself in the game without getting bored too quickly, hopefully. I just hope it's worth the wait, but I'm sure of it. So yeah, this one I picked just because like I also want to see that. Like I want to see if we can upgrade things as we go and how the world opens up as we play more, you know?
Yeah, and I wonder, like, how do you feel about Haken going from a traditional town to basically becoming Haken Island? I'm still getting used to that. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mentioned this in my video. Like, I think island setting was not one that I was looking forward to. I know so many people think of Animal Crossing as a springtime game, as a summertime game, but for me, I've always thought of it as an autumn game, as a winter game, like the opposite end of the spectrum. So for me,
Mm.
I've always loved that setting for Animal Crossing. So when I heard Island, I was like, oh, isn't that pretty tropical? Are we gonna just see that? But after seeing like the autumn and winter in the trailer, those were by far
Right.
my favorite shots of the game. So I am really excited to see what we can pull off on this island, you know?
Yes.
So yeah.
Our next answer is by Lyalatron, and he says, I am very excited for the game, but if only one island is allowed per whole Switch system, then I'm a bit disappointed. I'm happy to do some multiplayer, but I want an island all to myself. Restricting all accounts to one island seems harsh and unnecessary. So, yes, it's a little bit tricky. It's sounding like that's going to be the case. We don't know all the details yet. Hopefully, the sooner we find out, the better. And there's pros and cons. There's reasons why it makes sense, but I agree with Lyalatron also that there's limits, and I never like limits, especially with series that I love like Animal Crossing. So hopefully we find out, and hopefully it's a happy medium for everyone.
Yeah, I'm really bummed about this because I did not expect this to be the case. Like, this is not
Hmm.
how any games on the Switch have worked so far. Like, it's pretty
Right.
consistently been that every single game that you play as a different profile just gets its own save. Like, it's not connected in any way, you know? So, this is
Mm-hmm.
a huge bummer because I was expecting to be able to make 8 villages. um,
Hmm.
yeah, because every other game, like, it lets you log in under one account, and then once you're in that account, like, you can make multiple profiles. Like, Super Mario Odyssey is an example of this. Like, my nephew has a profile on my Odyssey account, and it's different from mine. So I expected, like, if you
Right.
wanted to share villages, you would have to go into the same account, like log into the game using my Chewy account, and then you can both live there, you know? So I
Hmm.
don't know. I just think this is a bummer. I hope it's not the case, but I mean, it seems like that just happens to be the case.
Right. Right.
So I'm not for it.
Right. Agreed.
All right. The next one is from Loon JP, our Haken I guess patron for this episode. Um,
Yes.
so they said, I'm really excited by New Horizons. I found in it the same vibe I love about Animal Crossing, but with so much new nice things to do. There's a feeling of freedom with what they showed. I'm just afraid about the lack of cloud saves. If the Switch breaks or just stops working, we might lose our beloved island. I picked this one obviously because this is another recipe for disaster, especially like if you have
Yeah.
only one island on the console, it's gone. Like it's all gone. And there's no way to recover it. And I think this is a bummer because I've been most bummed about like Splatoon not having a backup because I've played a lot. Like I've gotten a lot of custom, I guess, gear that I wear when I play that game, you know? So
Yes. Hmm.
when I play Animal Crossing, like this isn't a game that you can catch up in one day. Like this is a game, if we've played for a year, that's a year of progress that we've made. And if our game deletes at that point and there's no way to recover it, it's just the same problem we've had with every other Animal Crossing game. Just as a story, my brother, he got New Leaf at launch, just like me, and a month into it, his file corrupted and everything was gone. And
Oh,
then that just killed the game for him. Like he'd never really played after that. So it
no.
really just took him out of that experience. Like it's a game where it hurts that to lose, you know?
Yes.
So I don't even know why it's an issue at all because like it's not a competitive game. There's literally nothing competitive about Animal Crossing. Like who cares if you can duplicate items? Who cares if you time travel? There's really no reason to, you know? Um,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't do it personally, but I don't really care if other people are doing. Like, I don't see it as cheating. It's not a competitive game. It's just not.
No, no, right. It's just it changes the way people would play, but it's like you said, it's their play, so it's their way. They're not affecting anyone, and if they're still having fun, it should be completely up to them. Of course, I'm not wishing that anyone gets their save corrupted. Of course, that's a horrible thing to go through, but I hope it doesn't take that it happens to one of the developers or one of the higher ups that makes these decisions. It shouldn't have to happen to them for them to realize, hey, this is a big deal. So if this happens to people, we don't want that. Let's change that. Hopefully they change it before that happens. And hopefully, Nintendo recently turned around about allowing online play with friends on Mario Maker 2. Maybe they'll figure something out on this one. I mean, it's 9 months away, unfortunately, so there's time to think of something.
Yeah, I think if official news comes out that's more of like, because I always feel like there might be the possibility of a mistranslation, a miscommunication when people
Mm,
are speaking in different languages, you know? So there's a
yes.
chance that this could be misunderstood, and maybe we will have cloud saves. But Nogami is a producer role in this, and he doesn't allow cloud saves for Splatoon 2. So the odds are there that they just don't allow
Right.
it. But if we fight back against that, I think we'll see some results. I think it'll show Nintendo like we care about our towns. It's not like this is a game that I don't know, we're putting real time into our progress here.
Yes.
So, and it's a little bit more valuable than time you put into other things, I think, just because like the whole thing is time based. Like the game is based around a real time clock, you know? So,
Right.
yeah, I think it's important that we are able to save our games. The only reason I could think of them not allowing it, and this is a scary thought, is items that we get via microtransactions. I could see them wanting
Mm,
to avoid kind of breaking their economy by people being able to duplicate items, you know? So I
right.
could see them having implemented no cloud saves just because that kind of makes it easy to go back to a save where you essentially had an item that you no longer had. Like I could give you this special item, go back to a time when I did have it, and I'd still have the item, and now we have
Right.
two. So my
Right.
only the only reason I could see them worrying about that is if it's a premium item that we pay for through transactions.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, like you said, time will tell. We need more details. If there's going to be DLC, if they might have an option, um, maybe like a premium type of subscription to the online service that allows us to back up everything. Maybe we can only back it up once a month. I mean, at least that would be something, instead of losing everything, losing years of progress.
Yeah, definitely.
So our next answer is by XMDB, a very recent Patreon also. And the answer is, of course I'm excited. Many people say it looks like a spin-off, but I think that is because of the HD textures, as we have never seen a mainline game in HD before. A bummer is the release date, but I do not mind at all waiting a little bit longer if the developers will get a well deserved break. Also, people don't seem to like the concept of starting from the start and crafting your way up because it seems too much like Pocket Camp. I feel it is the much needed change in Animal Crossing that can make the game better. I am so excited. I agree. I agree. This was the change that I was looking for in the game, and this explains why it took so long for them to not show anything, I think.
Yeah, and I picked this one, of course, because I also agree. But it's also like, I love that concept of just starting with nothing and being able to craft your way up. So I'm all about that. I cannot wait for this game, and unfortunately, we have to wait like 9 months or so.
Yeah.
But each month is gonna feel so good as we get closer. um,
Yeah.
all right, so the next answer is from James Washington, and they said, I'm excited for the sequel, but not without some apprehension. The colors seemed muted and too pastel like to me. I've heard many say it will get polished, but what if we saw the true colors and the dev content is done? I just think New Leaf colors seem more lifelike. Also, I hope they fix the dialogue for the repetitive stuff like the museum visits, etc. We shouldn't have to go through the same dialogue every time with no way to speed the donation dialogue up. For example, I love the crafting though, and look forward to great mechanics. Just a word of caution. All game sequels aren't necessarily better than prior versions. Just ask the Fallout gaming community about Fallout 76. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, for example, like City Folk, it wasn't that much better than Wild World. I still think it is, but as far as like pushing the series goes, like Wild World did that. City
Yeah.
Folk just kind of added some features to what already existed with Wild World, you know? But I don't know,
Yes.
this is a big change. So I think we're going to be able to look at this Animal Crossing game much differently than the previous ones. So I look forward to seeing like what else they do. And I actually don't doubt that we're going to see some updates to the game so far. Like already we've seen the flimsy axe in the I guess in your menu screen. Other items
Yes.
don't quite have the flimsy design to them in the menu screen yet. So I think there's still little things that they're working on. I think we're going to see updates. And because we've already seen it with Luigi's Mansion 3. Like Luigi's Mansion 3 already has a bit of a new look to it. So I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of new things from this game is my feeling.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, especially because it's the first time we've actually seen it. And there's so much time they have left to keep refining it. I think they will too, and especially if they keep hearing our concerns like we did say we kind of want to see better textures. I'm sure Nintendo even themselves they said they are listening. So, I think it is something to look forward to for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And our last answer for this week is by Tav. And the answer is, don't you mean Haken's Islander corner? Grab your plane ticket and get ready. No suitcase necessary. Tom Nook has your tent, radio, phone, and everything you need for survival on your island ready for you. Can you tell I'm excited? Watching the trailer for the first time was slightly shocking as it looked so different than what I was used for it. The more I watch the trailer and find out about the game, the more excited I am. Sure, there are a few things I'm just slightly concerned about, but I think all the issues with the graphics will be fixed, and some questions about gameplay will be answered before the game releases. I'm just loving so much about it. The island theme, but with seasons are a must. The ability for 8 people to play together. The new ways crafting will add value to all the items we get. Ah, I love it! Now to wait. March 2020 can't come soon enough.
Yeah, I loved her little intro here, of course. It should be Haken's Islander corner. But yeah, we're going on a whole new adventure here, and I think a lot of because I was watching the stream I did and seeing people react to it as it happened, and there was some confusion. Some people just didn't
Yeah.
feel like it was the game they wanted. But now, as we're all settling into it, we're watching the footage more and more. It looks great. it just looks so good.
Yes.
So I'm ready for this game, Sergio.
I'm ready to, and it's just, well, it gives us 9 months to really plan everything.
Yeah, it really does, and we'll be able to do that a lot in the podcast as these things come out. But this has been great. Like, we finally have a new mainline game to talk about on this show, and it's gonna be on our minds forever.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you want to be part of the conversation on all things Animal Crossing, please join our Discord. I have a link in the description of this podcast. It's totally free to join. You don't have to be a patron. And if you do join, you can get Sergio and my friend codes. If you do want to become a patron, visit patreon.com/ChewyPlaysNintendo. For just $1, you can support our show, get tons of cool things, and you can see our current goals to improve the show and our content. We try to really make it worth it because we appreciate your support. And if you're watching or listening on YouTube, please leave a comment about your favorite new things in Animal Crossing New Horizons. And please leave a review of this show wherever you're listening. It helps the show gain some visibility and allows our community to grow. And once again, thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.